Jonathan here with Boston Collectors. Welcome if you're new. If not, hey man, listen, let's jump into it. So it's a little bit of history to discuss, right? But let's jump on over here to Sideshow. Now, the same night Hot Toys dropped this figure, Sideshow put up the pre-order for us. Now, originally, there wasn't a limited time release. This was not there, and it looked like the graphic is kind of screwed up, so I'm not sure what this is doing here. But either way, if you don't go with the exclusive and you want the collector's edition, the only difference here is a coin. That's it. Now, there are two different versions, which we'll discuss more on Facebook because that other sheet isn't here. $270 is the asking cost, right? But we do have the flexible payments, which the NRD is set for $27. And from there on, beginning in March of next year, $60.75, unless of course you have a coupon and or points. Now, the expected to ship date is between April and September of next year, which is, as of this video, next year. As we head down to what's in the box, and again, we'll be able to talk about this in the end card shortly. This is the first time we've received a character like this, so the R&D is there, right? You got to put the R&D in. $270, again, we'll discuss the price shortly. The body has 30 points of articulation, which is typically 32. One pair of hands for holding the lightsaber, a pair of relaxed hands, and one gesturing left hand. Come on, y'all. We need that right. As for the costume, which this guy is going to be draped in pleather. Well, we'll talk about that shortly. The weapons, we have an LED lit Starkiller lightsaber, which is the first of its kind, 2 lightsaber hilts with detachable blades, and 2 red lightsaber blades in motion, which those are the dynamic effects that we're all used to at this point. And for the final accessory, we have the figure stand and the character nameplate with the Star Wars logo. One thing that I am excited to get into though, it has to do with the costume, which is the black belt with the apron, and 4 lightsaber hilts which are non-detachable. As for the additional details, we are looking at, what is this? VGM 63B. Now, chances are that B is only because of the coin. If we go to the collector's edition, VGM 63. And chances are the A version is because of the other version, which we'll talk about shortly, and the coin is red, which, I mean, come on, let's be honest. If this is supposed to be indicative of the dark side, which is the Power of the Dark Side event that they have, I feel like we all should have got the red coin. Let me know what y'all think down below. But in the same respect, I do like the fact that it is gold because it feel like it's representative of Legends. It could be a small war about this one, so well, which side are you on? But as we head on over to Facebook, we have Lord Starkiller himself, and man, oh man. Before we start going through all of the photos, because I think this suit looks incredible. This is actually from the Force Unleashed DLC titled Wrath of the Empire, right? And it was originally called the Dark Lord's armor in game, which is interesting why they call it Lord Starkiller. They're not wrong, so it's not me saying that they're wrong. But this particular variation was built for speed and agility. And it is a variation of the Sith Stalker armor, which you would be able to see his arms and everything, but, you know, again, variations, right? And as for the lightsabers, we'll talk about it shortly because, you know, we can't really see them all here. So first things first, as we start to cycle through the photos, some of you might have jumped and you saw the pleather, right? I'm not mad at you. If that's what you saw, I totally get it, right? Because that's a problem. It's a lot of it. I doubt they're going to go with genuine leather on this. But the first thing I thought of, these blades on his hands, man, I feel like a lot of these will fall off. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little fearful of the vambrace here with the piping. This is a problem on my reclaimed armor Boba Fett, and I can only hope that this works, or else I'll have to buy an extra piece. I'll have to wait and see. But I also like the fact that we have a split cut boot design that works great for posability because I don't think this suit will have a wide range of it. And there is a photo where I will be able to point that out shortly. So here we have Starkiller wielding both his saber as well as Galen Merrick's. Looks pretty decent. The suit is the suit's indicative of Darth Vader, which, you know, I get it. You're supposed to be his replacement, right? And you picked up a variation of this suit in the game if you chose the dark side and not the light side, because without spoiling it, if you haven't played it, there's a reason that Galen doesn't exist anymore and he becomes Starkiller. Now on the back, as far as the detail work, we have the back region here, which looks really cool. That's definitely, that's in him. I'm not 100% sure about the lore of the suit, but it looks more like a torture kind of device if you ask me. Darkseid ain't really, it ain't for the faint-hearted, man. So supposedly this suit is nailed into him, and as Darkseid users, they feed on, hate and rage and all of that, so probably made him that much stronger if it's true. Again, we have the blades on his hands, which, wow, but worrisome. Man, this guy looks incredible. Look at the detail work there on the belt. Really, really cool, man. Man, this looks great. I can't hold you, man. I do have to admit, though, it doesn't look like we'll be able to pose him much, as I said earlier. This isn't a two-piece design like it is with Vader, right? So this isn't a vest and the arms are separate from that. It doesn't look like we'll have much in terms of a torso twist. It might be a little rough. I don't know if this is going to be soft or not. We'll have to wait and see. Although I will say that the apron looked like there's a wire in it, but I also can't say for sure. There we have Kazdan Paratus' saber, which that was a staff. But man, the trinkets here on his belt, so cool. Then we have Galen Merrick's, which is placed there on the left side. And we also have use of the left gesture, right? Which again, I feel like because, he's a dual wielder. I'd have liked to have seen a right gesture as well, but I'm not sure. It's just, it's interesting the way that they choose what's what. You're kind of limited to this kind of stance unless, you can figure out a way to make it work. Sometimes it is what it is, but dang, I'm not always trying to be an it is what it is kind of guy. But that saber hilt does look cool. Look at that. It's pretty nice. The suit design is incredible, but man, oh man, that pleather for a lot of people is going to be brutal. I feel awful for those of you who have to suffer with it. But speaking of suffering, because quite a few people suffered from this guy, right? So we have Galen Merrick's original lightsaber here, which looks good. He was using throughout some of the promotional photos, as you saw. And we also have Ram Kata's lightsaber here with the leather-like grip, which I doubt it'll actually have pleather or anything. Nice looking design. We have Darth Vader's hilt on the front, and we have, oddly enough, that's Darth Maul's saber design. And if you remember in the video game, when Proxy switched to Darth Maul, that's the only time that I can recall Starkiller fighting him. So it's interesting that he was able to make that a trinket, if you will. And as we mentioned earlier, the other version is from Kazda Paratus. Really cool. I like that they did their homework. This guy's looking mean. I cannot wait to have him posed up in the display. Now, I know the topic right now is Galen Merrick's portrait design, which we didn't see him after the events in the game, right? After what Palpatine did, that was the last time we saw his face. Would I have liked it? Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. But we didn't see his portrait anymore. Especially after the DLC, which is the Hoth DLC, Wrath of the Empire, right? And we didn't see his face anymore, so I'm not upset by it. But considering this is an all-new design, we have the LED lit-up lightsabers, which look as though I do feel like we should have received Galen Merrick's. If he's going to be dual-wielding like that, that would have been nice to have both LED light up. I don't know why they didn't do that. Although I understand this is Starkiller's, but it's like, you could have threw that other one in there for us. That would have been nice. We got the hands here, which, he can't ball up his fists, right? I'm not mad at it, but I still would have liked a force gesturing hand for the right. Come on, man, help us out. The split cut boot design, incredible for posing because I don't think this guy will be able to pose that well, but again, we'll have to wait and see. But for $270, is that mean enough? And as I mentioned earlier, the Darkseid event, the event exclusive, their commemorative coin is red, whereas the select market, which is us, the United States folks, and maybe other locations, it's going to be gold. I'm not mad at the gold one, I just would have liked the red one personally. But for $270, let's see, you got to factor in the R&D. It's $270 across the board for exclusive and collectors, and it's just a coin, right? How big is the coin? Is it like is it a loonie? Is it quarter sized? Is it a dollar sized? For $270, I genuinely will say I think it's worth it. It's rough to swallow though without a portrait at $270 because there are currently other figures on the market cheaper than this with a portrait design, but I do think because of the intricacies in the suit design, it's steep, I'm not gonna lie. And that's a lot of pleather that you're paying for, depending on the environment that you're in. $270 that's brutal for some areas. My problem when it comes to pricing is, for example, Clone Troopers. The same mode and that price keep rising, that's where it get a little out of control. But when it's an all new design like Lord Starkiller here, it's a different topic, man. Is it worth the price? I think you have to really love this character and say, man, I remember when I played this and I love this design and I love the character, then heck yeah, it's for you. I had a $20 code though, so that $20 knocked it down a bit. I didn't use points. It's definitely gonna depend. Do you know who this character is? Do you not care? And you're like, yeah, this is we don't really see dark side users that much, so I need this one. Or do you know who this character is and you love him, and 270 is like, man, give it. This is a tough one. I didn't grow up with the game. I recently did my research on the character and what he's about, his history, everything that he came up with, and who he is, what he is, how he became who he is. Dude was OP. Gotta admit, man, where are you gonna put this guy anywhere in canon? You'd have to dramatically change who he is, fundamentally. But I gotta admit, I did pick him up. Let us know what you think down below. Is it worth the price to you? Or do you feel like that price could have came down a little bit? Let me know down below in the comments. Like this video, subscribe for more. This is Jonathan with Boston Collectors. We'll catch you next time.